It has a 35.8 kilowatt-hour battery, 230 kilometers of range, 136 horsepower, and a heat pump. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2019 Volkswagen e-Golf. Please be aware that this car is available for rent on the Getaround platform in Brussels, Belgium. Getaround is essentially the Airbnb for cars. At the time of making this video, this is, to the best of my knowledge, the only electric car on the entire platform in the whole of Belgium. So if you are watching this from the distant future, I can only hope that this is no longer the case. It's my guess that we need more EVs on car-sharing platforms. So hopefully this car is no longer the only one. For those who are unaware, the e-Golf is a 100% electric car. It's based on the standard Mark 7.5 Volkswagen Golf. The Mark 7.5 is so called because it is a refresh of the original Mark 7 Golf. This refreshed, so-called facelifted version of the e-Golf, that we now call the Mark 7.5, was first released in 2016. And it curiously shares certain characteristics, mainly aerodynamic, with its fossil-fueled performance cousin, the Golf GTI. These similarities highlight just how much electric cars and performance cars share the same aerodynamic objectives. And they also serve to make the e-Golf look just a little bit cooler. This facelifted e-Golf features LED headlights, a redesigned front bumper, a new digital dashboard, and a bigger, more powerful infotainment system. More on that later. Also, starting from 2019, the front bumper now features aerodynamic strakes, similar to those featured on the Golf GTI. All e-Golfs, in common with all Volkswagen electric and hybrid vehicles, feature C-shaped daytime running lights. And the e-Golf also features a distinctive blue stripe on the front grille that runs into the headlights, also similar to the Golf GTI, except of course the GTI gets its famous red stripe instead of a blue one. The wheels of the e-Golf are not very pretty, but they are very functional. These 16-inch alloys are lightweight and highly aerodynamic, and they can increase the range of the car by up to 5% at high speeds on highways, motorways, and German autobahns. Finally, the e-Golf features a small rear roof spoiler and side sills, once again for reasons of aerodynamics, and once again, just like the Golf GTI. The charging port of the e-Golf is found in the same place as the fuel filler cap on the combustion version of the car. This particular e-Golf is fitted with the optional DC fast charging port. The port is accessed by removing this small plastic cover. When used, the DC fast charging port gives the e-Golf a top charging speed of 40 kilowatts. This can fill the battery from 0 to 80% in approximately 45 minutes when at a DC fast charger, like this one, for example. As you can see, the DC fast charger uses a huge double plug thing to do its work. More plugs, faster charging. Easy to remember. By the way, this particular charging station is free. Yes, you heard me correctly. It's free. No payment necessary. Thank you, LIDL. DC fast charging is, of course, designed for long-distance road trips. It is not necessarily the kind of charging that you would do every day. The kind of charging that you would do every day is called Type 2 charging. This kind of charging uses the onboard AC charger and has a top speed of 7 kilowatts. A Type 2 charging cable, as you can see, is provided with the car. Using this method, the battery can be charged from 0 to 100% in approximately 5 hours. That may sound slow, but okay, that is slow, but it's perfect for when the car is parked overnight or parked at work during the day. Please remember that the average car spends approximately 95% of its time parked in a corner, not moving, doing nothing. So if your car's doing nothing, then you might as well charge it. This e-Golf is fitted with the optional VW technology package, which features a fully digital dashboard and an upgraded 9.2-inch infotainment screen. The instrument cluster, in common with almost all other electric vehicles, displays a speedometer on the right and a power meter on the left. There is no tachometer. This is because the e-Golf, again like almost all other EVs, has a single-speed gearbox, with the electric motor placed directly on the axle. In effect, there is no transmission, so an RPM display is not really useful. What is useful is to show the power output in percentages in blue and the regen intensity level in green. More on that later. Also, at the bottom of the power meter dial, you will see your current estimated range displayed in a bold blue number. And at the lower left of the dial, you will see a curved blue bar between max and 0. This is your current battery level. The digital dash is highly flexible and is controlled by the buttons on the steering wheel. To change the content of the dials themselves, press the View button on the right side of the steering wheel. This will give you several display options such as efficiency, navigation, etc., etc. To change the display in between the dials, press the silver rocker switch on the right side of the steering wheel. When doing so, you can then cycle through the various options: assistance systems, navigation, driving data, etc., etc. To see the details inside of an option, simply press the up-down arrow buttons to the right of the silver rocker switch. The left side of the steering wheel contains the controls for the adaptive cruise control, the ACC as we call it. Press the top right button to activate or deactivate the ACC. Press the res button to resume the ACC if it is suspended. The ACC will suspend automatically the moment that you press the brake pedal. To increase or decrease the target speed of the ACC, press the silver rocker switch. And if you press the button inside the rocker switch, then you will change the desired safety distance between you and the car in front. The 9.2-inch Discover Pro screen is the biggest one available in a Golf. It has, of course, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto and added gesture control, but no physical buttons. The onboard navigation system is based on GPS satellite signals. It's easy to use and very effective, as I will now demonstrate.
The routes are being calculated. Please select a route. Please turn right after 100 meters onto Avenue de Tervuren.
It also has the added benefit of displaying the route guidance map twice, once in the infotainment screen and once in the digital dashboard. However, the most impressive part of this infotainment system is the button with the little talking head. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the voice control. Yep, that's correct. You can talk to this car. Navigation.
Navigation. Next command.
Enter address.
Please say the full address, starting with the city.
Brussels.
Did you mean Brussels?
Yes.
Brussels. Please say the name of the street.
Avenue des Celtes.
Did you mean Avenue des Champs?
No, line 2.
Line 2. Avenue des Celtes. Please say the house number.
25.
Would you like to start route guidance to Brussels, Avenue des Celtes, 25?
Yes.
The routes are being calculated. Please select a route. Please turn right after 100 meters onto Avenue de Tervuren.
But there's just one problem. If you happen to live in a place called Cancel, then I'm sorry, but you're all out of luck.
Did you mean Brussels?
Yes.
Brussels. Please say the name of the street.
Avenue de Cancel.
Cancel.
In common with all other electric cars, the e-Golf can generate electricity when slowing down by transforming its electric motor into an electricity generator, a process known as regenerative braking. The intensity of the regen braking is managed using the gear lever. By default, the car is in D mode, zero regen braking. With the gear lever in the D position, pull back once on the lever and the car will enter B mode. The letter B will appear in the instrument cluster. This is full regen braking. The car will now slow down immediately whenever you lift off the accelerator pedal, and the power meter will enter the green zone. This mode is known as one-pedal driving, because the brake pedal is really not used very much. Pull the gear lever back again and the car will switch back to D mode, and the letter D will return to the instrument cluster. In between D and B modes, there are 3 intermediate levels of regen. To access these intermediate levels, place the car in D mode and push the gear lever to the left or to the right. And a final note regarding regen braking. The use of regen is the most efficient way of driving around town in an urban environment with stop-go traffic. It is, however, not so efficient for high-speed travel on highways and motorways, for long-distance road trips. For that, it's better to use D mode. So remember, regen around town, D mode on the highway. And finally, we have the drive modes, Normal, Eco, and Eco Plus. Normal is actually quite sporty. The throttle response is sharp, and the car feels quite agile. In Eco, the throttle response is more gentle, and the car feels a little more sluggish. However, the range will increase. And then we have Eco Plus. In Eco Plus, the throttle response is barely there, and the top speed is limited to 90 kilometers per hour. Oh, and the climate control is completely disabled. So yes, you will save energy and maximize your range, but it's just no fun. The Adaptive Cruise Control, or ACC as we like to call it, is quite impressive. Essentially, it will attempt to maintain the car at a constant speed set by the driver, whilst at the same time maintaining a constant distance from the car in front. All this with the car itself controlling all acceleration and all braking. In effect, you drive with your feet off the pedals. If the car in front slows down, then so do you. If the car in front accelerates, then again, so do you, until you reach the set cruising speed, and then you stop accelerating. It can even be used in urban traffic, and it will bring the car to a complete stop if necessary. To start the car moving again after a complete stop in ACC, just tap the accelerator pedal, and it goes like before. But please remember that ACC is principally designed for highway, motorway, autobahn use. That is where it is safest and most effective. Lane Keep Assist. Lane Keep Assist. This amazing feature will steer the car automatically by reading the white lines on the road. The first time that you use it, it is, quite frankly, absolutely terrifying. You have no confidence in the car when approaching a bend, and you think that you are going to die. However, it does actually work quite well, so there's no need to panic. If Lane Keep Assist is engaged, then at speeds in excess of 60 km per hour, the car will unilaterally decide to steer itself. Don't worry, you can override at any time. And if your hands are off the wheel for more than 10 seconds or so, then the system will panic slightly and tell you to take over. If you wiggle the steering wheel a little, that seems to convince the system that you are still awake. It's not quite Tesla levels of self-driving, far from it in fact, so you still have to be alert and in control. However, it is quite impressive nevertheless. By far my favorite gadget of all on this car is the self-parking feature. You stop the car parallel to another car with a space behind it, you press the self-parking button, you put her in reverse, and away she goes. And just for a moment, you think that you have become a Jedi, moving the steering wheel with nothing but the power of thought. Obviously, you're not an actual Jedi. That would be a little unlikely. And of course, the car is not entirely autonomous. You must still use the accelerator pedal to start the car moving, and then control the speed using the brake. And of course, you must operate the gear lever. However, all of the steering is done by the car itself. And I have to admit, it's pretty impressive stuff. With regard to driving dynamics, let me begin by saying that the e-Golf is by no means a performance car. Nevertheless, it handles remarkably well for a car that is supposed to be ordinary. It's easy to drive, very comfortable, and surprisingly agile. Of course, it has that instant torque from zero revs, as all electric cars do, and it goes from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in approximately 8.5 seconds. That may not sound very quick, but from 0 to 50 kilometers per hour, it's actually quicker than the Golf GTI. Cornering is quite good too, with minimal body roll, no doubt due to the low center of gravity caused by the heavy battery pack mounted onto the seats. Here, for example, we see the 2019 e-Golf and a 2019 Golf GTI, with the limited slip differential, if you please, taking exactly the same corner at almost exactly the same speed. Who took it best? I'll let you be the judge. And that, ladies and gentlemen, brings to a close this presentation of the 2019 VolksWagen e-Golf. I hope that you have enjoyed it as much as we have enjoyed making it. And remember, like if you like, don't like if you don't like, and subscribe if you feel like. Thank you enormously for watching, and we'll see you next time. Peace, we out.